Creating space for the target to pursue you represents a delicate, yet powerful shift in the dynamic of seduction. Up until now, you've focused on building mental and emotional attraction, guiding their interest, and crafting a unique, memorable connection. But now, by deliberately stepping back, you allow them to experience a sensation of want, of needing to actively bridge the gap themselves. The psychological transformation that follows can intensify desire more than constant attention ever could, sparking a yearning that anchors them to you in a deeper, more committed way. This phase is about mastering the art of strategic absence without ever seeming cold or detached. Think of it as planting a seed of attraction that grows in the darkness of their imagination, fed by subtle signals and brief glimpses of interest that you continue to offer. You're allowing a touch of suspense to enter the relationship by slightly pulling back, perhaps by delaying responses, stepping back from frequent interaction, or simply allowing your attention to be absorbed by other areas of your life. This controlled distance activates their desire to bring you closer and fills the gap with anticipation. If the withdrawal is timed well, it can create a magnetic force as they start to seek out more of you, filling their mind with thoughts of when they'll see or hear from you next. This is the moment when the pursuer-pursued reversal begins to take root. As your target senses the gap, they may feel a mix of low-level anxiety and excitement, wondering if they're losing your attention. This slight touch of insecurity propels them to actively seek your presence, intensifying their emotional investment. They begin to take ownership of the pursuit, believing they're taking control and moving toward you rather than being seduced. The illusion of self-directed pursuit keeps them from feeling manipulated, making the experience more organic and convincing. Rather than a calculated withdrawal, it should feel like a natural ebb and flow, like you're simply occupied by other interests, creating an attractive aura of independence around you that further draws them in. Psychologically, this stage of seduction is supported by loss aversion, the tendency for people to fear losing something valuable more than they appreciate gaining it. Even if they haven't fully realized the depth of their attachment to you, the subtle absence highlights your importance in their life. They may try to rationalize their growing feelings by telling themselves that they're just trying to keep things fresh, but deep down, the slight thread of loss heightens their desire. By allowing them to experience this gap, you activate a subconscious anxiety in them, a need to restore the connection that makes your presence feel all the more essential and satisfying. The effectiveness of this approach is amplified when the target has already formed a subconscious emotional dependence on you. After spending time experiencing the pleasure and intrigue you bring into their life, they're now accustomed to seeing you as a source of excitement, someone who enriches their world in ways they find irresistible. By creating a hint of absence, you turn up the psychological temperature. They start thinking about you more frequently, even obsessively, as they wonder if they've lost their charm or if something has changed in your view of them. This curiosity becomes a quiet, relentless force, a longing that intensifies with each day of space you provide. Carefully timed, this space allows them to fill in the blanks on their own, which often creates a stronger attachment than any words or actions could achieve. They may start to open up more, to take small risks, or to express feelings more freely. Each step they take in pursuit further entangles them emotionally, as they become increasingly invested in bridging the distance. This shift taps into a psychological tendency known as commitment escalation, where they feel more inclined to pursue you because of the mental and emotional energy they've already invested. They'll convince themselves that you are worth the chase, deepening their attachment with every effort they make. The art of creating distance is not just about creating longing, but also about nurturing the excitement of unpredictability. The absence you establish should be tinged with signals that remind them of your continued interest, small gestures, fleeting looks, or cryptic but warm messages. These reminders help to keep their desire alive, ensuring they don't feel neglected or lose hope. It's essential to show just enough interest to let them know they haven't lost you entirely, but not enough to eliminate the suspense. This careful balance of mystery and reassurance enhances the illusion that they are closing the gap on their own, sustaining their pursuit while keeping them on the edge of excitement. By holding back in this way, you turn their desire into a self-sustaining force, one that requires less input from you and becomes driven by their own emotional needs. The fantasy of the seduction is amplified by their imagination filling in the blanks. Left to their own thoughts, they may romanticize you, imagine a future together, or see the relationship in an idealized light. They become the author of the seduction, in a sense, as they're compelled to think about what's missing, about the intimacy they crave, and about how they can get closer to you. The more they chase you, the more they need you, and the cycle continues, deepening their attachment and transforming simple attraction into something more potent. This phase also subtly alters the power dynamics of the relationship. By creating distance, you've shifted from the position of initiator to that of the object of desire. In pursuit, they're more likely to reveal vulnerabilities, to open up in ways they may not have before, and to admit how much you mean to them. They become bound by the emotional journey they've experienced, a journey that now feels like their own creation rather than your orchestration. This shift in power, though gentle, creates a magnetic bond where they feel as though they're drawing closer to you by their own volition. Their infatuation is now a self-fueling fire, kept alive by the thrill of pursuing someone who seems just out of reach, but remains tantalizingly within grasp. Ultimately, giving them the space to pursue transforms your connection into a more profound, self-sustaining bond. They feel that they're the ones bringing you closer, and the sense of control they experience only solidifies the relationship further. Now, instead of needing constant input from you, their desire is driven by the emotional roller coaster you've introduced. The thrill of pursuit, the satisfaction of your response, and the recurring cycle of longing and fulfillment. They're bound to you, not merely by attraction, but by a profound, seemingly voluntary attachment. The pursuer has become the pursued, and this inversion solidifies the seduction.